Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Now, the other issue okazo be if you are meaning challenge dream a bet tax.
Betting.
Yes. You see every policy. In fact, a policy can have multiple objectives. Beyond raising revenue, the other objective me face a bet tax, seeks to achieve, is to cut down on the youth getting interested in gambling. And the bet tax is not just to raise revenue for our buying, but to also correct a social inadequacy via air cost. Now the youth are attracted to gambling. Yeah. And yeah, you know, say gambling sabi. And yeah, the passer. Until the tax had you can say the purpose and the objective of that tax was twofold, if not even manifold.
To discourage
gambling,
yes.
And in the process raise some revenue for our buying. Until us capina, you may say, oh, we hear revenue from tax, from betting. How about the other, social ill it was seeking to correct in this way? How do you deal with that?
Are you suggesting, sir, by taxing it you correct the social ill?
Chairman, when when people feel say when I stick this now at the end of the day, me we no crana, me try to a big projections are not nipan was many sika be brief free sa bet in mono nipan would have a second thought ebi anka 10,000 or the bear ebi obeti so, and eventually might be convinced that look adi we nya dia SM here because me we crana aban sa be sika no by way of tax until it had you can say a two-sided objective.
Okay.
Until on the one hand is revenue, on the other is correcting social ill. Until you free you may say you have other revenue sources you are bringing and suggestions revenue suggestions are war a bit more revenue. How about that social ill? How do you correct it? Until I'm in a dream on the issue of
do we say betting or say taxing still?
Yes. In fact, the rate should even be higher if you ask me.
Okay.
Now the other issue is emission tax. Chairman, meaning in your dream.
Okay.
And the reason is this. You see, Ghana, every party to the Paris Agreement, countries be on Marcos signing this agreement, are saying, the green transition is a must. The green transition, once you become a party to that agreement now, every year, you are required to present the secretariat. Nyema we locally, they almost friend NDC, nationally determined contributions. There na we towards enhancing the climate change efforts. And one of the things I thought was a brilliant idea was to introduce our emission tax. As said, if you are doing the green transition, it requires a lot of investment for you to be able to do that. Now, Ebimu Akaze, as one of the ways to do, towards the green transition is the transition to EVs, electric vehicles. But Ghana, we don't have the infrastructure to even accommodate that transition. And if you have a tax such as the emissions tax, first you are able to tell other parties, say, look, locally, yensu ye boy home towards the green transition. Now, secondly, so if you have emissions tax, now acquire to say, obi or driving electric vehicle, on TSR tax, but who driving, a car fueled by fossil fuels, who TSR tax now. A bedroom revenue, people would be like, why should I continue to pay this tax when I can easily transition into electric vehicles? That's one incentive. The other issue is that it gives you enough revenue, Chairman. Now, with me up, creating our infrastructure needed for the transition. Now, Ebimo can say, we don't even have charging ports in Ghana. America, there are free charging ports all over. Uko supermarkets, you go to a place like Target and other supermarkets charging ports are free to encourage people to do this transition. Ghana, this are grown 1 year easy because already are buying in the car. Until we cannot add to the cost.
So only says green energy, clean energy, agenda no asset yamayo.
Debbie, Chairman, the way I born and saying agenda.
Atik, the fight between clean energy, so-called, and fossil fuels in Tokano. It is not as simple as we may see it.
No, Chairman, I am not even looking at the clash between fossil fuels and other.
That's all I didn't start.
No, Chairman, climate change, Chairman. The way a profit here, or
minister so
what has here? Chairman,
Minister, then
saying,
my auntie said, "Bear for this, no shed under papa." Omo script, omo preparation, editing, proofreading, rehearsals near the engine. Internet, the Anankasano. Yes, bear for this near the field near you. Yes, you better 1.5 hours. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, I think to us.
Yes, Chairman. Me, I don't think it's a fight between those who produce fossil fuels and Grofo.
But you think that he should maintain the emissions levy?
He should, because the needed revenue to help in the green transition.
Okay.
What has here? But you free wa? Says yeah, sika ye the best transition. You go What has here? And it requires a lot of investment.
Okay.
Boom, Chairman. And we yes emissions tax here. It gives you an opportunity to look into other areas that about the transition process. You know, there is this concept called greenwashing, and when they say polluting and doing more emissions, you know, they tend to pay other companies and other countries so that they can do things to limit and help towards neutralizing the carbon effects and our carbon emissions now.
To help you to feel good. Obia sending maybe in Switzerland. Betting tax 35%. Switzerland is 35%.
Yes. Until like I was saying, me emissions tax here dear. Maintaining. And like I said, it gives us leverage to look into other areas. If who was our emissions tax? Now you bet me I can say, okay, we have enough revenue. Not enough revenue, at least we have a revenue to encourage others to go into climate change effects and say. Then you are helping them. Then they can begin to engage with other companies that are interested in doing greenwashing. It's carbon credit in Abbey. Nansaya mi who says Zumla and India focus I need deal be. Look, if government has revenue, there are other private entities that are buying to also go into some areas now that other companies elsewhere that are doing emissions would be willing to pay for. But about any revenue, how do you help others to do that? And with the emissions tax, my suggestion is that it should be clearer. There should be a strategy on that particular tax. Say, your G tax now, it is mainly meant for green transition. No, you can say agenda 111 and ABB. Your G tax now, it is specifically for efforts towards green transition and decarbonization. Now the other issue are Mampenya Bedichi, who is now the flag bearer of the MPP. I agree with him, but I feel there should be some addition. He spoke about fiscal policy rules. When we say Ghana, the fiscal responsibility act, it's a form of fiscal policy rule. But addition kakra, so or the bibe kan so that we can be fiscally responsible.
That's a 105.
Yes, percent,
which is a very.
But I was expecting, just like he departed and ran away from the E-levy, he should have said, look, Oba, the first thing is to restore.
Nobody
Nobody I was expecting, so Oba said, Oba, the first item on the agenda, as far as fiscal policy rules go, and he said he would restore the Fiscal Responsibility Act. You suspend it this is 2020, yeah, restore it. And it is, look, Mintias here, baby, I read here. Anka, we are no longer in such crisis now. Now you womb in 2020. What is stopping us from restoring that Fiscal Responsibility Act? When him says since the past is act, you find you.
No.
Yeah, pass and China here suspended.
No,
it was passed late 2019.
That is different from saying since you pass it,
No, what I mean is it has not been fully effectual.
Okay, it has been used, and then when the circumstances required, it was suspended.
Well, you could say that.
And
what I mean is
time,
we have not had the chance.
No, because
to experiment for a whole fiscal year. Okay, well, maybe I get what you mean, but it has not been fully effectual. Yeah, pass year, Chairman, we've not experimented with our law for a whole fiscal year. Now you've ended the argument and say now you crisis more, and the law allows you say crisis more, emergency more, obey me suspended. Chairman, we're in 2024.
We are no more in crisis.
We're no longer in crisis. Until deliberately the Minister of Finance is refusing to restore it. which means he's taking us back to the pre-fiscal policy. I mean, Fiscal Responsibility Act regime. No, which I would have expected. Say, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have said, first item on the agenda would be to restore it, and then now additions. Now, very important additions. Now, the count, nanka or the account.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.